I grew up in Massachusetts, and I'm the oldest of four. My mother has been with, my mother was really my inspiration my whole life. My dad was not in my life, and really never had a father figure for most of my life. It was my mom. My mother was a housekeeper. We grew up very humble circumstances. As a matter of fact, my mother made no more than $7,000 a year for most of my life. And it's like, only God can take care of a family of four like that. So when I was a senior in high school, my dream was to go to college. My mother raised me that my life would be 10 times better if I went to school than if I stayed on a local block doing what I was doing, but that I needed to apply to school. And so my guidance counselor told me that it was not college material. I had to go outside of the school to get the help and assistance that I needed. And I spent my last senior year out on the street and homeless. But thank God, through my mom's perseverance and persistence, we found someone that was willing to help. And that really kind of leads me to how I got here. So my claim to fame was that I graduated in 1993 from Northeastern University, was the student commencement speaker of my class, and preceded former President Bill Clinton. Everybody and their mother was there. It was live on national television worldwide. And here, the homeless kid who was a former gang member who just graduated from college, who became the student commencement for Northeastern, was going to speak before the President of the United States.
I read an article about Doug and his mother and his family and his trials and working his way through college before I came here. And in the article, he said he planned to invite himself and his mother to the White House. Well, I'm going to beat him to the punch. I'd like for Doug and his mother to come to the White House.
And we spent 3 days in Washington, D.C., the last day in the Oval Office with President Clinton. And it was something that I'll never, ever forget. From that moment on, I went to work, started working in nonprofits in the Massachusetts area. And everyone at that nonprofit had a higher education degree. They all had their master's degree. And most of them had it from Harvard. So I looked at the #1 school in education from a U.S. News and World Report, and that school was Harvard. I said, I need to go for it. So I picked up the phone and called my friend Bill. I said, hey, would you write me a recommendation for Harvard? I'm thinking about Harvard. Can't you talk to Senator Kennedy and Senator Kerry for me? And on September, when was it? April 1st, 1996, April Fool's Day. I thought it was April Fool's joke. My brother Daryl and I have a younger brother Daryl. We both got into Harvard. Two of us both got into Harvard. And it wasn't because of my grades, it was because of my story. It was because of the testimony of not giving up, of daring to dream. Then my goal and my dream was to start a nonprofit one day. A nonprofit to help other youth and families. But I didn't know what that looked like. But I knew I wanted to start a nonprofit and help people. Very soon after, we received the largest grant that we ever received at Turning the Heart Center for $1.89 million through the Department of Labor. And that grant would sustain, the mortgage for us to be here. Enough for us to come in, to take the land, to take dominion, and to live out the dream that was shared at church.
And we were able to move into a facility that now we call home, and it's the home to close to 20 different programs. And at that time in December, we only had 3 programs. We had tutoring, community service, and the gang intervention group. And now we're close to 20 different programs, and we serve close to 17,000 families because of that move that we made.
So I met Pastor Doug at Cornerstone Church, and I had to do 30 hours of community service. In 2004, I was arrested in a high-speed chase and looking at 18 years in prison. I got bailed out, went to recovery home in Escondido to get help for myself. One of my requirements was to do community service. So I did them at Turning the Heart Center. There I was challenged, and I really didn't know that was where I was going to stay for all this time.
So along with all of our youth empowerment programs and our educational programs, we do operate a self-choice food distribution center for the families, and we opened that in 2012. And when we opened the doors, we only had 27 families, and now we serve close to 300 families every weekend. And it's exciting that Turning the Heart Center really has established its reputation of being a hub and being a resource broker for the community, where if we don't offer the program, we work really hard to delight the families, exceed their expectations, and find a place that they can get the help they need if it's not with us. What we stand for and what we believe in as being community and helping families grow, I know that our vision will come to play. We started off with 3 groups, and now we're close to 20 different programs. We started off serving maybe a couple hundred families in a year, and just last year we served 17,000 families, and we look forward to the future. And we all believe that one day in every city of America, there will be a Turning the Heart Center where lives are being changed and hearts are being turned.